Good morning, everybody. We'll give it a few minutes to let people log on. We're going to have a really deep talk. This video is important. The same narratives keep rearing their ugly head. Canadians at large, that includes First Nations peoples from all walks. It's really, really challenging to break what the system in Canada has thrown down, and it's important every Canadian knows the truth. It's tough. It's really tough. You know, you get frustrated at times. You get feeling beat down because people keep saying the same things that have been indoctrinated. We've all been indoctrinated. I've spent 2 years again. And you can look, there's a ton of people on my Twitter. Why, with such a small following, why would I have such large and well-followed academics, world government officials, former or current, following me on Twitter? Why would that be? Just go look at my Twitter, look at who follows me. A lot more famous, well-to-do people than myself. Why would they be following me when they have tremendous followings themselves? But they've chosen to follow me. That's because I've been on a road for 2 years in every major academic, highest level universities in the world, meeting the greatest minds in the world in vast amount of Zooms. I hold my own pretty good. And you know what? I never tell falsehoods. I only speak in absolute truth. So today, what's that truth? It's the United Nations. Canadians, World War II came and went. Your country was altered forever. The United Kingdom under King George had to remove itself entirely from Canada. Entirely. That means no more Governor General in the traditional sense or any of the Lieutenant Governor. All crown powers in this world are ruled illegal. That's by the UN. No more world wars, no more atrocities, no more genocides, no more human rights violations. Before the UN, before that defining organization that gave a constitution and a charter to every nation in the world. If you didn't accept that charter, you didn't get UN status. Canada did all that. UK was still attached to Canada. UK was forced by the Allies. Do you want permanent representation in the UN? Do you want any kind of power you had under the League of Nations? Because if you don't do this, you don't get it. You don't get it. And you know what King George and the UK Parliament said? Oh, please, please, don't remove us from this world. We want it. So they did it. They did it worldwide. So did France. So did many other colonials who happened to be at least on the side of the Allies. And they should be lucky they were, because they would not be where they are in the world today. They would be exactly like Nazi Germany and what happened to Spain, what happened to Japan. That's reality. Canada, this is reality. You are a constitutional monarchy developed out of colonialism, out of those powers ruled illegal in this world. Your political parties have taken that crown colonial power and they're using it themselves. They're committing a great atrocity, a genocide against the First Peoples in Canada and all of you Canadians referred to as the boat people. There's many treaties. France, UK overlapped this. USA had the War of Independence. They fought 7 colonials. 7. This is not about white people. It's not about white people. Russians are almost all white. That's reality. Besides any of the overlap of Arabic, the brown peoples. USA, absolutely mostly white. Besides all of the others they've incorporated even through Africans out of slavery, and they've abolished all that. They've settled their First Nations claims. They've moved on from any kind of colonial powers. They've done that first in the world, beyond anybody else. When you start to look at the southern states and slavery, that's inherited from, again, Spanish, Portuguese colonizers. That's what the USA was. New Mexico, where do you think that name comes from? What's a Mexican? Look at the history. You're going to find out the overlap of multi-colonial powers. This kind of world lived during the time of the League of Nations, and before that through imperialism and the dark period of colonialism. That's what World War I was a war over. That's what World War II was a war over. This is reality. Whether or not you were taught in school, I know we weren't. I went to the same schools, same education system all of you did. The difference is I've spent 2 years fast-tracked by the world's greatest professors in law, history, political science, the world over. Hundreds of them. I have many coming forward with me to try and get this done for my party, CCP, the Canadian Constitutionalist Party. What I'm doing is absolute truth. It is not the UN that's bad. The UN is very good. Read the UN Charter 1945. It is your rogue UN state Canada by none other than your mainstream political parties who are enacting the NWO. They are leading this in the world. Rogue in the UN. There are lots of nations who want to go rogue in the UN. The General Assembly does not craft, I repeat, does not craft international law. The UNSC, United Nations Security Council, P5 members, they write the international laws in this world. They also administer all justice in this world. They are also the mightiest of all armies in the entire world. 68% of the fighting forces in the world. 5 countries, 68% of the fighting forces. They are also 99% of the proliferation, meaning the nuclear weapons in this world. Russia and USA alone can destroy this world many times over. You're not going to find Russia invading anywhere in the world or USA invading anywhere in the world and expanding their borders. There is an absolute law of sovereignty that ends all colonialism, keeps you in your borders, in your national sovereignty of your nation. They've imposed, those 2 countries have imposed since World War II, 85 constitutions in this world, ending any kind of colonialism and any kind of sense of a country that thinks it can breach borders of other countries. Do you know what the Blue Helmets are? That's the Army of the United Nations by the Security Council, put out by the Security Council when UN states go rogue. When UN states go rogue and they want to commit atrocities, human rights violations, or breach borders, that's what they do. They keep nations sovereign. They keep you in your country without you getting breached. That's what the UN does. Before that, the mightier the nation, they could take and destroy whatever they wanted. That was the law of the world. That was the law of the land. When we talk about colonialism, it was powers in this earth to go out and take nations away from any sovereign, take those people, eradicate them, rape, pillage, plunder them, and replace them with your nation's people. That's what the world was doing. That's what Germany was doing. It was called colonialism. UK did it. France did it. Denmark did it. Portugal did it. Spain did it. There are seven colonials of this world. Half were Axis, half were allies. Russia and USA didn't get into World War II till nearly the very end. Russia was not a member of the League of Nations until the very end because Germany moved in on Russia. the Soviet Union. That's reality. Did you know China, imperial but not colonial? Never went out expanding borders, never putting anything past their people and their sovereignty. Never. Never. Not China, not Russia, not USA. It's against everything they believe in. Don't force your will on other nations. This is world binding law. Read your UN Charter 1945. Who wishes to get you to hate the UN and the binding world laws imposed on everybody? Well, that's your nation, Canada. You notice how everything is the UN's fault? Nothing is the fault of any of your politicians, even though 80% of your country is not made available to you. Whose fault is that? Is that the UN's fault, or is that your politicians' fault? Everybody says to me, why don't the world powers come in here and teach Canada's government a lesson? Because that's not how sovereignty works. It's you, the people of your nation, who have to bring it to the UNSC. It's you who has to do it. They don't go around wiping bums and going and taking care of other sovereigns' business. If it's a problem, you'll bring it to the UNSC. You'll go to the proper courts. There's only one. The ICC, International Criminal Court. I've published this tons of times, but Canadians, you still want to believe somehow there's a boogeyman out there that isn't your politician. It couldn't possibly be your ruling government's fault. It has to be everybody but your government's fault. Your government loves you, even though no one in the world's taxing you. Your government is. No one in the world enters your borders unless your government says they can. Read your Constitution. It is very colonial embedded. Totally illegal in this world, but it's up to you, the people, to take it to the UNSC, which is what I'm trying to do. I've tried many, many times to get many. I've had a few hundred signatures, upwards of 1,000 for Pastor Coates. We have 1,000. We have signatures to a letter to the Queen, which was done in January. I think we're going to have to try and send another one. Let's get some more signatures. Send an email. But people, it's not a bad UN. It's bad Canada, a UN state, along with other autocrats, dictators, and despots. The world's not short of them. The UNSC has to fight that all the time. This is the work of the UN to end all that. The UN is not the NWO. It's rogue UN states in the General Assembly with no power to bind international law unless the UNSC says they can. Do you know out of 1,000 times over all this period since 1945? Nearly nothing. We can look at it in 0.1% how many times the General Assembly alone has been allowed to bind law. The UNSC steps in every time, mostly every time, and says, no, take a leap. And the UN General Assembly can keep publishing agendas, this, that, and everything else. What's happening in Canada is absolute propaganda, not matched in international law. The international laws of this world, of most of the real democratic nations, don't match Canada at all. What Canada's doing is not matched in many, many nations. Africa, 52 nations of Africa, there's still a bunch still working it out. They're getting there. We're watching the Caribbean, 2 nations of the Caribbean. We're watching Brazil and South America getting the job done, getting rid of it. 70 years later, the work in progress continues. Do you know where it doesn't continue? Is Canada. And there's 2 other nations I'm not going to talk about. I'm sure everybody can figure that out, who they are. They're exactly like Canada, maybe a little bit better in some respects. But the reality is, when King George got to Canada, 1952, this is real history, removing UK from Governor General, Lieutenant Governor, the amendment to the Constitution of Canada, all the amendments had to happen. He wanted that done, but he died abruptly. He died abruptly. Queen Elizabeth, 27 years old, ascended. A war veteran on the mean streets of London who had fought the Nazis, 27 years old. My son's 26. Do you think he could run the country of Canada? Let alone be a monarch for a whole Commonwealth? He'd know what he's doing. If he had been on a World War II front line in uniform, a mechanic, trades, never learned nothing about the crown, and all of a sudden, here you go. Do you think he's going to know how to run that whole system, know how it works, let alone what, let's say, his father or myself, works I had done with the world and the UNSC and how it transformed over those years, 7 years? Do you think she learned any of that? No, she didn't. And the corrupt politicians of Canada, upon his death, upon UK pulling out, an 1867 Constitution no longer works for Canada. It's absolute colonial. It was crafted in the age of colonialism. Again, ruled illegal in 1945. UNSC says no. That's USA, Russia, UK, France, and China. All said nope. This system can never, ever go forward again. You are an Axis power. That was Germany. That was all of the colonials that led to World War I and II. And Canada hasn't changed it since 1952. Is that the UN's fault? Or is it the corrupt liberals and conservatives of Canada of the time who carried it forward, and every political party since, who once they get elected gain all of that tremendous autocratic power in the name of Her Majesty, because they are Her Majesty, full control of the colonial power, colonial positions, the absolute anti-democratic system that removes all of you and the First Peoples from any mention constitutionally in all respects. It is absolutely given to a very select few in a divine right that is no longer legal in this world today, but Canada uses it 110%, and that's okay. It's not their fault. It's some other UN fault or everybody else, billionaires, multinationals, all these groups, not the politicians who run your country, who draft all the treaties, sign it all away, who are absolutely in full charge. It's not their fault though, right, Canadians? Give your head a shake at this point. If you don't share the video, if you don't start pressing this out, it's on you. You're killing your future, your children's future, your grandchildren's future, and your great-grandchildren's future. You're what's wrong with Canada, and you're the reason we will end up in a third world system. We're going downhill year after year, faster and faster. Now, why is that? Because you can't come to terms with your corrupt political system that's been illegal in this world for nearly 70 years. That's reality. Thanks, everybody. Share, share, share. If you're not completely bamboozled and you're somewhat awake to reality that's right in front of you, you can read it in your Constitution. You can read it in absolute history, published, verified by the best of the best in the world. Tons of books written on it. I don't expect people to read every book as I'm going through, or go through every academic institution as I did. But the world will tell you what I'm saying is 100% truth, reality, and absolutely verified. The law of sovereignty deems it's you, the people, who make the change. Not world powers, not anybody infringing into your country. You change your country. You get up, you make the difference. Now I'm building the vehicle for that, the legal way to do that. But it's up to all of you to share it. It's up to all of you to email, to message, to reach out to the world powers. And I try to do that. But in a population of 38 million people, when it's only a few hundred or a few thousand, it's not enough. You have to show them that the majority of people get it. They're not going to come in here and change your system. That's where the lunacy of people saying the UN's going to invade. Are you kidding me? Russia could blow us right off the earth in literally 30 seconds. USA can blow us right off this earth in 30 seconds. Either of those nations could occupy Canada tomorrow, and there is not a thing anyone could do about that. Honestly, that's reality. Even China could do it. Possibly UK, possibly France. But they don't, because that's not the world governing system. That's not the constitution in this world today. It's not the UN. They don't invade countries. They stop dictators, autocrats, colonial powers, i.e. Nazi-style Germany. Atrocious genocides. That's what they do. And all kinds of other things. Embargoes, sanctions. And sometimes they execute world leaders. They've all done it, and they continue to do it when it's necessary. That's the power the entire world voted for in 1945. The end of World War II. You don't get out of the UN. You wouldn't want to be out of the UN. If you're out of the UN, your country is now open to invasion from any Tom, Dick, and Harry who can and will enforce their will on you. The only reason why it doesn't happen today is because of the UN. Wake up, Canadians. You're being misled. You're being lied to by your government. Liberals want the post-national state. Trudeau said that. He loves you championing leaving the UN. He loves Canadians mouthing off about, oh, the UN's corrupt, it's bad, I want out. Well, guess where you end up? You end up in a post-Nazi Germany. A free-for-all, a Palestine and Israel. You can't get nation status. Those countries can't get nation status. They can't. Palestine can't get it. Championing it, you can't get it. Ruled, no way. There are 9 of them. No way. They're never going to get status. And you want to leave and be a non-status nation of the UN. Guess what happens to you? You lose Geneva, Vienna, goes on and on. There are many international treaties you lose overnight. No Canadian will ever be safe internationally traveling. You can be murdered, and guess what? There's no law of salvation for you. You can be detained, arrested, thrown into prison for no reason whatsoever. They can take all your property, take everything, your bank accounts, and there is nothing you can do about it. Your government can't do nothing for you. Look at Taiwan. Look at Taiwan. They need papers through China to leave Taiwan, so they never leave. People don't tell you this stuff, but it's true. The propaganda inside Canada is one of the worst in the entire world today, besides other rogue regimes all over the world. It's up to you, Canadians. But Canadians seemingly think that somehow they're different than the rest of the world. Somehow they're better. It's great and wonderful. Even though inflation is skyrocketing right now, Venezuela is so very close. And the middle class is so close, which is so already weakened. In the next 4 to 5 years, we're going to see where Canadians are. By then it may be very well too late. Just like Venezuela. Do you think they have any way out now? Do you think there's anyone that can rise up there? They've already flooded into refugee status. That will be Canadians soon. You'll see Canadian refugees. Give it 5 years. People say, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh really? Maybe you should read world history. Not only world history, just in the last 70 years of how many governments who went rogue, like Canada is, and continue on this path and where they end up. There are many, many examples. Many. Where do you think refugees come from? And why then does the UNSC step in? World-binding laws. I know Canadians don't know it. You're so propagated by your corrupt government across every aisle, every party, because they all want that absolute colonial crown for themselves. None of them want any rules of governance, how to govern, or any accountability. That's fact. You will all decide, you will all choose, because one way or another, this is coming to a head. I'm here in Ontario, I see it. Young people can't even buy a house. I'd never buy a house here. How many years of a mortgage would I sign on to? 50? With what? Employment that's scattered at best? Terrible, terrible indeed. Lies, lies, lies right across the board. And people want to believe it. You can be the change. It's up to all of you. Don't be suckered. Bye now.